Assalamu alaikum. Today you will learn about how JSP works internally. Before moving on to any of the further topics, please be informed that this is the 14th tutorial in the series. So without any further ado, let's get started. So let's continue with where we left off in the last tutorial. We saw how JSP works and we looked at a couple of tags in JSP. Let me just run this. Alright, it works fine. So in the expression tag, I have printed out the value of C, which is basically A plus B. Now instead of C, I can have something else. It doesn't have to be that variable. Alright, right click, run on server, save everything. And as you can see, it is totally fine. And even if we can do something like 6 plus 8, which is an expression, this should also work. See? So it turns out in the expression tag we can write whatever we want to print on the web page. For now, let's keep it as C only. And apart from this, we have some other tags that you are going to learn today. Now what if we want to create a different method? How do we do that? Let's create a method in this scriptlet tag itself. Let's see what happens. Return A plus B. So as you can see, it is showing an error over here already. Let me ignore this and let me just run this and see what happens. We got an error as expected. But what is the error exactly? It is a 500 error. This is how a servlet handles the web application error. It says unable to compile the class for JSP. If you scroll down, you will see syntax error on token opening bracket, and it is expecting a semicolon. So it is saying that this opening bracket is not allowed over here. Basically the method definition is not allowed in here. If you notice, this behaves similarly when we are trying to create a method inside a different method in the Java class. So how we do this in JSP? Well, there is a different tag for this, which is called declaration tag. In this we can define the method that we want. I will copy and paste the method in here. Now you can see that error is no longer there. Let me just format this a little bit. Alright, and now if we want to call this method, we can say that the value of, let's say, k, we can pass any numbers in here, 55, 66, and let me create a break line over here so that it is more formatted. Save everything and let's run this. As you can see, we can also call methods in JSPs. We can create methods inside declaration tag and then we can call that method wherever we want. Now you may ask that if we can create the web application using JSP itself, then why is there even a need to create servlets? Why do we even need to work on servlets? Well, the answer to that, if you haven't already guessed it, is that every JSP gets converted into a servlet at runtime. Yes, the Tomcat server converts that JSP into a servlet. So as you can see, whatever the code that we are writing inside these tags, whether if it's a scriptlet tag or a declaration tag, whatever it is, that code is getting converted into servlet, and that servlet gets executed at the runtime. Now apart from these tags that we have discussed, we have some more tags. If you scroll up to the top, you see this tag. This is called a directive tag. You can use this directive tag with different properties. In here you can see it has been used with page property. The importance of this directive tag is to import the classes or the libraries that you want. For example, if I create a new date object over here, and open a scriptlet tag, in this I say new date, You can see it is already giving some error, but let's just run this and see what happens. Again, we are getting error. It says date cannot be resolved to a type. That means it is not able to identify date because we have not imported that. So where do we import? We import that in the directive tag. Here I can say import is equals to java.util.date in double quotes. Save everything and run this. We get an error at line 28. Let's see what it is. Line 28. Okay, this should be expression tag. Alright, now let's run this. Yeah, we got the date. The date is this, and rest of the values are getting printed as well. So as you can see from here, we have covered a couple of tags, which are directive tag, declarative tag, scriptlet tag, and expression tag. Now this directive tag, here it is called page directive. There are multiple properties that we can use with this directive tag. Let me show you a couple of properties. We already covered the page property, which indicates that whatever the data is there in this tag is applicable on the whole page. For example, the language of the page is Java, content type is text or HTML, since we are using text as well as HTML tags over here, and some coding and whatever imports that we want. Notice we can also separate this import in a new tag. Let me create a page directive tag over here, %@. I say page and import. Now this is easy for good understanding and formatting as well, because we can add multiple imports like this, which is easy for us to code. Alright, so let's continue with directive tag. One of the other property of the directive tag is include. So let's understand what it is. I will create a new JSP over here. Go to source main in webapp. I will create new JSP file. Let's name this as home. I will say hello from home.jsp. Run as run on server. Alright, this works. Now let's go back to our index.jsp. Here we can initiate this directive tag. Here I will say include file equals home.jsp, and let's put a break over here. Save and run. Look what we have over here. It says hello from home.jsp. So turns out using include tag gets the return of whatever file that we pass in here. In this example, we have created this home.jsp and it returns hello from home.jsp, and this we have included in our index.jsp. That's why include file name. So whatever this file returns will get automatically captured by this index.jsp, and that will be printed out on the web page. Now let's understand how does Tomcat converts JSP into Servlet. Well, we know that whatever we write inside these tags gets converted into Java code. But how does Tomcat converts all these tags into Java and basically converts JSP into Servlet? Well, if we start from scriptlet tag, whatever we write inside a scriptlet tag gets converted into Java code, and that code is placed inside service method that we have already covered in our previous tutorials. And whatever we write inside declarative tag gets converted into Java code and is placed outside of the service method, right? And whatever we write inside an expression tag gets converted into Java code and is placed inside print writer method. And lastly, we discussed about declarative tag. Whatever we write inside declarative tag gets converted into Java code and is placed outside of the class. Outside of the class means import statements, include statements, things like that. As you can see over here, when a JSP gets converted into a servlet, whatever code is there in the scriptlet tag is placed inside the service method of the servlet. and whatever code is there in the declaration tag gets placed outside of the service method but within the servlet class, and whatever code is in the expression tag gets converted and is placed inside the printWriter method, and all the directive tag gets placed outside of the server class. Your homework is to figure out why does scriptlet tag gets converted only into service method. Why does it not gets converted into doGet or doPost method? That's one homework for you. So as you can see, we have covered a lot of tags over here, including scriptlet tag, declarative tag, expression tag, etc. and varieties of declarative tag, which is page tag and include tag. And apart from these, we have some more tags and properties of the tags, which I have created a document for you. You can pause the video and take a screenshot. We have directive tags, scripting tags, and action tags as well, which we will not be covering, but you can take a screenshot of this. In the next tutorial, we'll go further into the JSPs and the working of it. So see you guys next time.